It's time to end austerity. It's time to fund public services, to value police and justice staff. It's time to break the cap. Because for UNISON members and for a million more public service workers struggling to survive, there is no more pressing issue after years of brutality. Vicious attacks on our public services overseen by Tories at Westminster who do not care what damage they do. In the first 6 years of Tory Westminster rule, 600,000 jobs went from our public services, jobs mainly held by women. And in those 6 years, public sector pay rose by only 4.4%, and yet the cost of living soared by over 22%. And to rub salt in the wounds, the pay of the top bosses has risen in the past year alone by over 1/3, while we're expected yet to pay the price of the failure of the banks to defend our economy over 9 years ago. So while the rich feather their nests, public service workers like yourselves and the people that you represent struggle to afford the basics. The Tories, they call it prudence. The Tories call it restraint. I call it inhuman. Conference, some unions have limited aspirations. They talk about scrapping the cap. Some unions campaign for raising the cap, for some but not for others. But for us, Conference, that is just not enough. What we demand is real-term pay increases for all public service workers. We know the damage that pay caps and pay cuts have led to. And every single year, it's getting worse. A poverty trap sucking in hard-working public service workers, victims of austerity, of poverty, of misery. The care worker who can't afford the bus back from work. The healthcare assistant walking home by the local food bank. The classroom assistant secretly applying for payday loans, ashamed, frightened that if her boiler packs up in the winter, her family is just a cold snap away from disaster. A quarter of UNISON members, 300,000 public service workers, don't know how they would pay for unexpected expenses. More than 3/4 say they're buying less food, and 1 in 10 are saying that they're missing entire meals to feed their children. It's an outrage. And each year, it's getting harder than the last. Inflation, now 3 times the level of pay increases. Spiralling debts, impossible to repay. It's immoral, an indictment of our politicians who have failed especially to look after the pay and care for police and justice staff, NHS staff, classroom assistants, and give them the wages that they deserve. Enough is enough. But together, Conference, together, united, we can win for public services and for public sector workers. And have no doubt, Conference, there are those who will seek to divide us. There are those who will cherry-pick their favourite services or part of their favourite service and try to buy some of us off at the expense of others, dangling a carrot in the hope that we will back down. But we have to say loud and clear, we don't want rises for those in uniform only. We want uniform pay rises for everybody.